This is our Forex blog for October 6th, 2014, and I'm not really doing too many blog posts or promoting our website or software. I'm mostly just trading and continuing to work on our automated trading systems. I've actually written a program that helps me write about 80% of the patterns, and as of now there's over 825 patterns in our Forex signals, which I have automated myself. So the key to trading is small losses. This is the initial risk on this trade, and this is how much profit there was. You can see it's 2.5 to 3 times, maybe even 3.5 times more than what the risk is. Then I went long again here. This is the risk. This is the reward. Bigger profit than risk. And if you have bigger wins than losses, you don't even have to be right half the time. You can be right 40% of the time and have, wins of maybe 2 times bigger than your losses and break even or make a slight amount of money, depending on if it's a little bit higher. So this one continues to trend up. This wasn't enough of a pullback, and it had already gone up enough, so I don't have rules in there to take risky trades like that. But once it goes up statistically too much, you start looking for counter trend trades. And even on the counter trend trade, one of the strongest, extremely strong trend here, it still makes 1.5 times more profit than what the risk is. And then here, and not only is the initial risk small, but notice once the trade starts to go somewhat your way, the risk gets cut in half. So a lot of times, what you ultimately lose when you have a good trading system is 1/3 to maybe 1/2 of what your initial risk is. And also, many times you make, 3 to 5 times what your initial risk is, even though the average risk is oftentimes half that. So, if you compare, in this case, what normally happens, having a very, very tiny loss, half of what the initial risk is, to this kind of profit, you have 5 times bigger profit than what your losses, when they're wrong, actually are. And that's what makes trading absolutely so much fun. That's one of the reasons why I'm not spending too much time trying to get new customers, but and just spending time trading. Here's the last here's Friday and also today. Risk, slightly bigger win, nothing to be excited about, not 30 or 40 or 50 pips. This one's pretty good. And also note the initial risk and how quickly that gets cut into less than half. Just in a few bars, it's less than half. And look at the reward. Huge. It's 2.5 to 3 times bigger than the initial risk, and probably 4 to 5 times more than what the average risk is. And here is today. Did exceptionally well today. Very excited with the results today. Here is a trade where, again, the initial risk was this, and the trade really didn't pan out, but we lost this, 1/4 for what the tiny original risk was. And then we got into this trade here, and very quickly the stop got moved up just in a few bars to this, and we made this. So it made maybe 2 times what the initial risk was and 4 times what the average loss is. And then we got into this little pullback right here and made this amount. Maybe 2 times, 2.5 times. And again, I tend to be very conservative. I'd rather miss a few trades than have patterns that, on trend days like this, we'll buy these little tiny pullbacks and catch 20, 50 pips, but 80% of the other days where the market's not this strong, doesn't trend, and it's just choppy, we'd have 5 or 10 losses during the day. I do not want that. So I've created the system for my own trading. I want to go to bed knowing that most days I wake up and the system has made me money. But again, look at how accurate the counter trend signals are. That's the initial risk, and very quickly into the trade, it gets, pretty much cut to almost break even, and this trade generates, maybe 1.2 to 1.4 times the initial risk, but 3 times what the average loss is. And then I'll just change it to a circle here. You can see the initial risk times your reward, because that was a decent pullback, and enough time went by to allow the trade to happen. I use time. I use all of our statistical tools that we are pretty much the only people that release these kind of statistical tools to average traders and not hedge funds that manage hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. And all of these statistical tools are measured in here. We also use fib analysis. I'll just showcase what it looks like to me. This is what our end trader gets. I convert the signals that I trade into our patterns. I measure everything: swings, fib levels, fib retracements, fib targets, fib time extensions, fib bar extensions, trend line angles, GAN, absolutely everything. We leave no stone unturned. As you can see, I have the trend line slope of every move, the swing high and the swing low, where the fibs are. I know where the trend lines are, and if the market pulls back a decent amount and at a decent amount of time and it's still above the trend line, we allow these buys. This pullback right here was underneath the trend line, so we don't take those trades. I leave no stone unturned. I am an absolute obsessive compulsive when it comes to creating trading systems. With each one of these over 825 patterns has probably 15 at the minimum, up to 50 different rules that have to all apply before I take the trade. So that's it for now. Hopefully you sign up and buy our software or trade with one of our brokers. There's nothing in the world like our software, and I really don't have the time to show people how to trade each day, but luckily I do spend every second of every day when I'm not with my family creating really good trading systems that pretty much tell you when to buy and sell and when the odds are in your favor. So imagine if you lose 1 or 2 times in a row and you bet a little bit bigger in the next trade and you make 30 pips on that trade and you have, let's just say, 1.5 times your loss. So you take one lot, you lose 5 pips, that's $50. Take another lot, you lose again. Maybe you lost 8 pips that time, so that's 80 bucks. You're down 130 bucks. Let's say you do 1.5 lot on the next one. 30 pips, that's 450 bucks minus the 130, 150 you're down. You're up 300 bucks, and you're only right 1 out of 3 times. So having a very accurate system is critical, and that's what I do myself, especially when I decide to trade manually during the day. I get extremely aggressive after maybe 2 losses, sometimes 3 in a row, with the only exception of if I get a bunch of narrow range breakout patterns in a row that are all losers, I don't bet bigger. But anytime I see a real trend like this, I just really bet bigger if I ever have 1 or 2 losses in a row, and get the losses back and go back to normal trading size, and most days are winners, and that's the key to trading.